Welcome to Ellen Road.
Still going Rafinha! Rafinha! Oh, what a finish that is! Good ball towards Lee Bowyer! What a goal! It's gone past Boss, it's in! And the goal is scored by Llorente! Oh, what a finish! And it's another one! Bowyer next to runs the bridges! What a picture of goal for Leeds United!
2 goals in a crazy 4-minute spell down at Carrow Road gave Leeds all 3 points at Norwich. Now it's back to Ellen Road. Leicester are the visitors, and this is the warm-up. Coming up for you on the show this week.
And our fans are unbelievable. We all know it. We're renowned for it. They definitely give us that lift we needed against Wolves.
I'm going 3-1, but I did say it could be 2-1.
Got 2 horses in the race now.
Correct.
It's all on injuries. If there's a team that I want, we win.
So welcome to the warm-up this week with myself, Rich Williams, and as always, Leeds United legend Don Matteo, a man who said on last week's show that Norwich pretty much was a must-win, and we won.
I did. I also predicted 2-1. I know you forgot about that, but I hadn't. I definitely said that. 2-1. No, it was interesting because obviously I spoke with a lot of the fans. I always get a bit of feedback from them, and they were a bit disappointed with the win. I was like, the way we played. I was like, what? Surely we've got to be thinking about that. Just them 3 points. Every game's hard, especially in the Premier League. Norwich needed desperate for a win as well. They were having a go. Wasn't much quality in the game, but it was all about that result. And we got it. We got 3 points, 3 positive points, and 3 points that we desperately needed. So now momentum's back in our hands for us to push forward. And I think that's an important thing to talk about, because even when you speak to the players, momentum's everything. Once you can get a bit of momentum going, that's when the result seems to come. And I believe that the result we got at Norwich will push us forward.
That 4 minutes obviously was as a Leeds fan watching it, you're like, yes, what? Yeah. All going on. If there was a real moment of quality in that game, it was the first goal, Rafinha's goal, the pass out from Pascal.
Yes.
Dan James with a beautiful dink over the top, wasn't it? A great first touch, and then Rafinha does what we know now Rafinha does, score it, takes it past a few players, and 3 nutmegs just to make sure on the way to the back of the net.
Just the 3. I mean, obviously, he's a special talent, isn't he? And I think we all know that, and I think the players realise that now as well. And I think they all look to get him on the ball, because I certainly would. If I was playing with him, I'd be feeding him as much. Just get him on the ball. He's the one who causes teams problems, and that's skill. And them nutmegs. I mean, I don't like nutmegs, being a defender, but when you've got someone with ability like that, he can try that, and he obviously paid off for him. And I think again, the ability he showed, and the finish in the end as well, it was a great finish, but also how important that goal was for the team and for the club. It's massive, and we need players like him, and we've got a player who can actually win a game, not on his own, because we all need a little bit of help around us, but he's that type of player who is a bit different to what we have. He is a match winner, and you can't say that about too many players in the whole Premier League. There's a few, but he's certainly up there with being a match winner. And
of course, goals win games. Rodrigo 2 in 2 now. The penalty followed it up by, you don't shoot, you're not going to score. Took a shot from outside the box, and it went in.
I don't think the goalkeeper will be too happy with that, but like you say, in that moment in time, we'll take that. And Rodrigo's in decent form. I think he's underrated as well. I think we haven't seen the best of him yet, and that will come. Maybe when Pat gets back, maybe we'll see him playing in a slightly different role. But I think he's done well, and like you say, he's had his critics as well, but he gets on with his game. And it was good to see him get another goal, and I think for him, when he plays in that position, there's probably more emphasis on him to get a goal. When Pat plays, obviously he's the main goal scorer, and we've seen what he scored, the goals he scored last season. But when he's not fit, Rodrigo needs to stand up and get them goals, and he did. So fair play to him. And again, like we've seen when he took the penalty, cool as a cucumber. And so we're seeing another side to him, which I think it'll only improve him as a player as well.
Let's just take a look at the fixtures this week, and I'm just going to pick out a couple that seem particularly tasty, Dom, just to get your very quick thoughts and score predictions as well. We'll start with Everton against Spurs. That is 17th versus 18th in the form table at the moment. Conte's now in place. Benitez under a little bit of pressure. Your old neck of the woods up that way.
Yeah.
Which way is that going to go?
I could sit on the fence and say draw, because I think it might be. Two teams who are not in great form, and the performances have just been unusual, and obviously they lost a manager at Spurs, and I think that was a bit harsh, to be honest, because I think he is a good manager. Wasn't given enough time, but that's Daniel Levy for you, isn't it? He makes a change and he sticks with it. But yeah, I think there won't be much in that again. I think both teams are desperate to get a win. They won't want to concede too many, so could be a ball draw, to be honest.
A ball draw after all that. He's gone for a ball draw.
Yeah.
Very quickly, Man City against Man United.
Well, I don't really like either. I don't mind Man City, but I think City will win, and obviously the performance in the Champions League as well. Again, the skills of Phil Foden and stuff. They've got some great players, but I think City will just edge that, maybe 2-0.
All right, there you go. He says he's good as his predictions, so we'll have to wait and see how it all pans out. Of course, if you're getting your fancy team ready, the deadline is looming. Perhaps straight after the warm-up, you'll be wanting to make those final alterations. If so, here's some suggestions from you, from Luke.
So here are my top 5 picks for game week 11. Number 1, Aaron Ramsdale. The most talked about goalkeeper this week, he's averaged 5.6 points per match this season. And against Watford this weekend, could he grab himself a clean sheet? Number 2, we are going for Ben Chilwell. 3 goals and 3 assists. 43 points in only 4 games. And against Burnley, who are in the relegation zone, it's a no-brainer to get him in your team. Number 3, Pontus Janssen. The ex-Leeds player is against Norwich this weekend, who are yet to score an away goal. So there's a good chance that he will add another 6 or 7 points to his tally that's already at 42. Number 4, Harriet King. He's on a bit of a goal drought at the moment, but a new manager and the fact that he has produced double-figure returns in each of his last 3 trips to Everton might be the boost he needs. And finally, number 5, Rafinha. He's Leeds United's highest earner for points and is always the player that looks most like creating for Leeds. If you haven't got him in your team, you need to get him in there.
Liam, thanks so much for joining us here on the warm-up. First things first, congratulations on the win at the weekend. Got to ask you, what was it like playing through those 4 minutes with the 3 goals?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, lads. To concede after getting the all-important first goal was disappointing on our behalf. I should have maybe give Shax a little shout to see it out, but I thought he was going to anyway. But that is one of them things. Disappointing, but as we do, we bounce back. You can't sort of rest on something in this league. You've got to go and get it. And just speaking off air then to you boys, it was a must-win game for us. Performance wasn't great, but the 3 points was all that mattered, I think, on Sunday, and we managed to get that. We can take confidence from the result, and hopefully next game get a better performance.
When you get a partnership, I know you've obviously played with a lot of different players so far this season as well. Is it important, do you think, for yourself as well to get that partnership going, maybe with you and Llorente, to form a probably, I suppose not form a partnership, because obviously you might play 3 at times, but you two definitely playing week in, week out. I think that helped me as a player. If you're playing with the same players every week, apart from injuries, I think it's really important, isn't it, to keep together and
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Being familiar with, obviously, Diego a bit in there at the moment. He's a Spanish international. I can learn a lot from him as well, you know what I mean? I know I'm 30 years old, but I'm still learning every single day and trying to improve every single day. But yeah, you know yourself, Don, being with someone in there week in, week out, it does help. You know each other's characteristics. You can half expect what each other are going to do, and obviously there's so many variables in a game of football, and we all expect the unexpected. But to build up that relationship in the free and as a two, it can only benefit us as a team and as a back four as well.
What's the mood like at the moment? How's it been this week? Obviously a good feeling coming back, having got those points. Is there a sense that things are starting to turn in the right direction?
I think we all know performances and points are what brings the morale and keeps the spirits up around the place. You're not wrong. We didn't get off to a great start, and maybe the expectation was there from last year. We was flying last year. We got off to a great start, and obviously didn't get off to such a good start this season. But I think that's 7 points from the last 4 games. It's good form. It's a good return. But we've got to keep going, and we need to get them wins on the board. We've got a massive game Sunday, packed out Ellen Road with probably one of the top 6 who's going to be up there in the top 6 this season. So it's a massive game for us, and one we've got to go in with confidence after the result of the weekend and go put a performance on. I think our fans deserve that. We didn't really get the performance weekend. We got the all-important result, but we want a good performance and a good result, and hopefully we can get that the weekend.
In terms of Leicester, what's the danger, the threat there that they pose? What are you going to be working on beforehand?
Oh, we know what they play. They can play different formations. We've done a bit of analysis and prep on that this morning and trained it in the murder ball this morning as well. Maybe 3, 4, 5 different shapes we've done there. Could be a back 3, could be a back 2. But whichever way they go, we'll be ready. Obviously, we've got to keep Vardy and Iheanacho and Maddison quiet. That's what we'll try and do. The less into the game they get, the more chance we've got, and that's what we've got to go and do. We've proved we can do it numerous times, but we've got to have 14, 15 players bang at it, and that's the boys coming in, everybody off the bench as well, all wanting the same thing and wanting to achieve a big result the weekend, and hopefully we can do that.
Good stuff. Coops, thanks so much. Just what you want to do, talk to us after a session of murder ball. That's exactly what you wanted to do, wasn't it? Thank you so much. Good luck for the weekend.
I've managed to get my breath back anyway.
Good luck for the weekend. Congrats on the national call-up again as well, and best of the team.
Cheers, lads. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Today we're joined by Lee Chappie, a Leicester City fan and a YouTuber. Lee, we'll start with you boys. You're currently sat in 11th. Probably not where you want to be at the end of the season, but it's only 9, 10 games in, so it's not the end of the world. How do you think your season has been so far?
Oh, if you take out the form of Leicester recently, and you look at it, we've been much better than this. Let's be honest. Leicester aren't performing at their best at all. Overall, our best game I think was probably against Man United. We didn't let them play. We pressed really hard, a bit like old school Leicester from a couple of years ago. Really pressing really high up and not letting them out the gate either, really. United had a few chances, but we kind of closed them out completely and just played our game.
For you this season, who's been your standout player at Leicester? You've got the likes of Vardy.
I think if a system works towards Vardy, how his style of play is, then Vardy shines. Yeah. When the system don't work, Vardy gets isolated. And for me this season, probably so far, I'd say Ricardo Pereira has been our key player.
So looking at the game, obviously last year, both games were high scorers, a 3-1 for Leeds and then a 4 for you. A score prediction, and how do you think the game's going to go, Lee?
It's all on injuries. If there's a team that I want, we win 2-1. If we don't have the team, I think it's going to be a tough game, 1-1 draw.
The Leeds with the chance then to build on the momentum from last week against Leicester. I mean, you don't want to look too far ahead with these things, Don, but it is a funny league. If we beat Leicester, we go within a point of them in the table. Yeah. That's how quickly things can move around.
Yeah, and their form's not been that bad. Obviously, forget the last game where they got beat quite convincingly. But overall, they're a good side, aren't they? They're a good, solid side. They finished quite high up the table last year, and I think they're a club as well. Obviously, won the Premier League not so long back, so they're a club with a little bit of history now as well. And I think the players as well understand how he wants to play and the style they play now. Obviously, we know about Vardy. We know Tielemans has got a lot of quality on the ball. They've got so many different assets they could use if they wanted to at Leicester. A lot more than what you think. If you look through the squad, they've got some clever players, and they're a team that I always think, when they're at it, they're very, very good. If they're not at it, they can have a bad day, as we've seen. And I think it's so important for us against Leicester to start well. This is a real chance for us. If we start well against them, with the fans at the moment wanting to get behind us, wanting to really push us on, I think this is a real opportunity again to start well, and I think we can go and win the game.
Yeah, they have been inconsistent this season, which you do think maybe just opens the door slightly. Who are the danger men? Set pieces, certainly, with Maddison. You know, he's got the ability to put a ball in. We haven't been great at set pieces so far this season, but who would you pick out?
I mean, Vardy for me is obviously, I wouldn't like to play against him. because he's just everywhere, isn't he? And he's the age of him as well. He just seems to, he has limitless energy, and he wants to bug people as well. So I think for Coops and Llorente up against people like him, I'd probably see it as a bit of a test for me as well, because you know what you're going to get out of him. He's going to be everywhere. Tielemans on the ball, I know I mentioned him earlier. We all like him as a player. I think he can be a bit more physical himself personally. That's just my own opinion. He's obviously a top player, plays for a lot of games for Belgium as well. But he's one that can dictate. So again, somebody's going to have a job of getting hold of him. And obviously Maddison on the ball, very clever, can create chances, set pieces. I think set pieces are going to be vital, especially against Leicester, because of Maddison's delivery. He's got great delivery, and if we can't defend properly at set pieces, we will get found out, as we know. In the Premier League, if you don't defend properly at set pieces, you get beat usually. So I think we're in a better place defensively than what we have been. I think we are defending better, and obviously the Llorente and Cooper partnership, or if they play three, whatever, it seems to be a bit tighter, a bit better, a bit well organised, a bit more structured. And I'm sure Marcelo Bielsa will be looking at the team, and the selection will be very important, whether he goes three or whether he plays four, whatever he plays. I think we have to look at that now as well, as if you're analysing it as well, because he has played three and he has played four, so we'll wait and see what he picks against Leicester.
What's the score going to be?
Well, it'll be usual, isn't it? I'm probably going to go.
Don't say 2-1. If he's going to say another 2-1, there's no point in you being here. I can say that.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll just to mix things up a little bit. Yeah. I'll go 3-1.
3-1.
I'll go 3-1 because they have got threat going forward, and I also think that we're due a performance that merits that as well. So I think it's coming. It's just about how we start this game. I generally mean that. I know it's about every game I start well this, but I generally mean this game because Leicester, obviously got beat well in the last game. Obviously playing in Europe as well. So I think it's a good opportunity to play them and to get a result.
All right, just telling you now, I'm calling it now. Start on next week on the warm-up, or the week after the international break. If it is 2-1, he'll be like, well, I wanted to say 2-1, but you wouldn't let me, so I had to say 3-1.
Okay, well, I'll accept it. I'm going 3-1, but I did say it could be 2-1.
Got two horses in the race now.
Correct.
It's
It's
all good.
always good to have two.
Tom, thanks for joining us on the warm-up, as always.
Thank you.
So this weekend's match is dedicated to the armed forces. Everyone here at Leeds United will be paying their respects, and Sergeant Dave Walker's with me now. Dave, before we even get into this, you've got a bit of a unique thing. Like most people sort of walk up to the ground, but you've come to Ellen Road in various different ways over the years.
I have. I've parachuted into the ground with a match ball. That was quite interesting. And I've also, for centenary, flown over the stadium when the fireworks were going off, or the pitch flares. So, and obviously, I've walked through the front door.
Yeah, I don't think many people can say that really, but you've three ways, you know.
Yeah, well, the only thing I haven't done is tunnelling.
Right. You could have done that when they redid the pitch, but you've missed the opportunity now to go and
maybe next time.
Maybe next time. Let's just talk about this weekend, the Armed Forces Day. We're going to be paying our respects, of course.
Yeah.
Football and the Armed Forces and Leeds United, that link is so strong and it's so important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of the Armed Forces community, Royal Air Force, Army and Navy personnel who are serving, as you know, all over the world, and a lot of them are Leeds fans. And I think this Festival of Remembrance, as always, there's a lot of personnel who can't be here in person, and it's a great time to remember those who are serving and also those who have served, and also those who've paid the ultimate sacrifice.
It is always a poignant moment before the match, of course, when we have that moment to reflect. For you personally and other Armed Forces personnel, how proud does it make you feel to know that the club do this and recognise everything that the forces do? Yeah,
well, for years, obviously, being a Leeds fan and a Leeds boy, I think regardless of management, but in particular, you know, I know Angus and Andre and everybody else, they really do get it, and every year we're always here, and we always make the guys and girls feel, so welcome. And for those members of the Armed Forces who have not really experienced Leeds United fans, it's a great experience for them, and a lot of them, I think, when they do leave, end up being die-hard Leeds fans. So
absolutely,
it's a win-win.
And very quickly, before you go, score prediction for this weekend, Leeds against Leicester.
Come on!
I've got to ask you.
Come on. 2-1 Leeds.
There you go. That was the hardest question of them all.
Yeah, I know, but now everybody, I can see it now. You've set me up for a fall because.
Well, you know.
But yeah, Leeds, you know, they're doing well. They need to just keep battling and, like the parachute regiment, just keep digging in, digging deep, and they'll always get the result.
Absolutely. There you go. 2-1. You heard it here first. Leeds against Leicester. It is paying our respects to the armed forces as well. It's going to be a huge game, a brilliant atmosphere and a massive crowd. LUTV will have all the coverage. Your commentary team will be Bryn Law and Tony DeRigo.